For better or for worse, it was time, and Collin Klein had to come home. Welcome in. I'm Pete Mundo. Heartland College Sports is where you find us. We cover the Big 12. We're glad you're here joining us, as always, as a part of the show. So, the big breaking news this week was Chris Klieman stepping down as the Kansas State football coach. And very rarely in this business do you get to call your own shot on when you leave. It doesn't matter if you've won a Big 12 championship like Chris Klieman's done. It doesn't matter if you've done one of the most difficult things in not just college football, but all of life. And that is to successfully replace a legend. It doesn't matter. When your time is up, it's up, and you usually do not get a decision as to whether or not it gets to end. And that is the nasty side of the college football coaching business. And Chris Klieman learned that this week. And a part of me feels bad for him, really, because he's done a really good job in a difficult spot leading Kansas State football. You take over for a guy like Bill Snyder, that ain't easy. Just ask Ron Prince, okay, how that goes. We've seen guys all over the map in all of sports try to successfully replace a legend, and it rarely ends well. You never want to be the guy to replace the guy, right? You want to be the guy to replace the guy who replaced the guy in a perfect world. But Chris Klieman effectively replaced a legend. He walked into a stadium every day for work that was named after the guy that he replaced, knowing full well he was never going to have his success. He did it humbly. He did it admirably. But it was still time. Because Colin Klein is ready. And you are not going to miss out on the opportunity to bring Colin Klein home as a guy who could be here for 10, 15, 20, 30 years. I'm not guaranteeing it. We've seen too many guys fall flat on their face. I'm just saying, you don't turn down that opportunity if you're Kansas State. And that's what they would have potentially been doing if they had just hung on for another year, for another 2 years. Especially when it wasn't obvious to me that Chris Klieman wanted to keep doing it this way with how college football is currently being built. And I don't blame him for that. Do you? Sport's a mess. You're paying guys that don't even play in the game sometimes now. Dylan Edwards, okay? They can just walk off whenever they want. The pendulum has swung way too far in favor of the player. Something's got to shake it back towards the middle. That's not happening right now. It's unlikely to happen anytime soon. And Chris Klieman has had so much success, multiple FCS championships. He's won a Big 12 title. He beat undefeated TCU to do it. Don't forget that. They still made the college football playoff that year and got to the national championship. But he has had great success. Now, this year was not a success. This year was a disappointment. This year was filled with letdown, injuries, what ifs. Started off poorly in Ireland with K-State giving up a home game to Iowa State, which they should have never done in hindsight and hopefully will never do again. Close losses here, near misses there. It was a bad season all around. And you just want to get the stench of this season out of your mouth if you're a K-State fan. I won't put it all on Chris Klieman, but, as a head coach, you got to take some of the blame. Some of the blame. I mean, who really thought Matt Wells was a good hire anyway at offensive coordinator? And then when there was the press conference against Utah after the game, right? They almost upset Utah. Chris Klieman gets up there and, he basically goes on this diatribe of, I've given my all and I just want a little more respect. And then Gene Taylor's, giving him a shoulder to cry on. I didn't love that. I just didn't. The human side of me understood it. The human side of me appreciated it. But then after about 5 minutes, it's like, you know what? Nah. K-State fans are giving their hard-earned money, sweat, resources, time, checks, obviously, to this program to see it succeed. Chris Klieman's the face of it. He's doing very well, making a ton of dough. God bless him, he should. This is America. But no one wants to see that. I know, there were two camps. There was the camp of, I wish my coach would, we should all want our coach to love our program like Klieman. Yeah, are those K-State fans saying that right now? Are those K-State homers doing that whole thing right now? Or are they like, rah-rah Colin Klein? I'm pretty sure most of those folks who are all in on, boy, I wish my coach had the heart of Chris Klieman. Everybody should want their coach to have the heart of Chris Klieman. I'm pretty sure most of those guys are now just doing the happy dance for Colin Klein, as they should. You don't let a guy like Colin Klein, who's your guy, get away. You can't. So maybe this is all happening a year or two too early. Maybe. But it was now or never. You do it now. Because according to Texags, Billy Lucci, he posted on X on Wednesday that Klein was the top target for South Florida. So he was potentially going to take the job at USF because their coach left for Auburn. So if you're like, hey, not that you would have lost him to USF forever, right? But if he had major success at USF, who knows where the coaching carousel goes from there, right? Who would have predicted a year ago we'd be sitting here talking about Penn State being open and LSU being open and Arkansas and Oklahoma State, right? Like, who would have predicted this? So you just have no idea where the coaching carousel takes you, which is why if you're Kansas State and you feel like, Klieman might be fried, and that's part of what I saw from the guy in the press conference after the Utah game. I mean, I was thrilled that he cared about the kids in the program the way he does, but he also just seemed fried to me. He just seemed mentally and emotionally exhausted by the whole thing. And I can't blame him for that. I can't. I'm not knocking him for that. That's just how it came across to me. And it didn't come across as somebody who was like invested in this for 5 or 10 more years with where the sport is and where it's trending, whether any of us like it or not. And that's where you sit there and you say to yourself, okay, well, Colin Klein's proved himself. He's had major success at Texas A&M. He's 36. He understands the lay of the land. He's seen it now in the SEC. Let's bring him home. And the people I've talked to around K-State, not just the diehard fans, but some of the larger donors, I mean, they're all very happy about this. They appreciate what Chris Klieman did. And these two things can be true at the same time. You can appreciate what Chris Klieman did for the program. It did not collapse after Bill Snyder walked out the door. And that is a very difficult task. It's an unenviable task. And it's something that when you succeed in doing it, you typically don't get enough credit for it. But at the same time, Chris Klieman knew that taking the job. He was handsomely rewarded for that. He deserves a lot of praise and a lot of accolades. And he shouldn't be forgotten, and I don't believe that he will be forgotten at all. But if you're Chris Klieman, what more do you have left to prove? You've won national championships at the lower levels. You've won a Big 12 championship as well. You've had great success. You've been to multiple bowl games. And if you just don't like where the sport is, guess what? A lot of people don't. Not a lot of them can walk away, though, and say they've made tens of millions of dollars doing this, while at the same time, hold their heads high and have respect and get to truly step away, whether it's forced or not. And that is what Chris Klieman is being allowed to do. And you can have all the respect in the world for him while still understanding that the timing is right. This move had to happen. And even if Colin Klein is, for whatever reason, just falls flat on his face, and I don't expect that to happen. I think he's going to have success. This is the job that he will have for a very long time. But even if he does, would you say, well, should have stuck with Klieman? Not necessarily. Because you're going to have the NIL that you need. You're going to have the staff that you need in place. Klieman or Klein understands that. And that's going to be a big part of what is going to make this work. Kansas State has a great football tradition over the last 30 years. A proud football tradition over the last 30 years. And Colin Klein is the guy that at this moment in time in college football understands what needs to be done to get him back to that mountaintop. And I believe he can do it. The time is now. Pete Mundo on Heartland College Sports. Glad you're here as always. Thanks for joining us as a part of the show. If you are new, we cover the entire Big 12, but sometimes we break it down on big news like this. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and we'll talk to you soon right here at heartlandcollegesports.com. Also, check out our free forums on the website. A lot to like there as well. We'll see you there. heartlandcollegesports.com.